Aloha and welcome to our guide to visiting the summit area of Haleakala Volcano on the island of Maui, Hawaii. For many, this is one of the must-dos when visiting Maui, and we still get a real thrill from visiting the summit area even after so many visits. In this guide we will look at getting to the summit via the infamous Summit Road, the cost of entry, booking requirements, and address the raging online debate as to which is better, sunrise or sunset. Haleakala is one of the largest volcanoes on Earth, making up nearly 75% of Maui's landmass, rising to a peak of over 10,000 feet above sea level and much taller if measured from the base. Unlike most massive mountains, summiting Haleakala is a breeze, mostly due to the paved highway that runs right to the summit, meaning you could just drive to the top in any old rental car. There are no restrictions enforced by insurance companies, unlike some roads in Maui and the summit of Maui Hawaii on Hawaii, so any tourist with a modicum of confidence can just drive up the mountain and take in the stunning views from the summit's thin air. It's also open 24 hours a day, weather permitting, meaning you can head up to witness the sunrise or the sunset. Again, not something you could do on Hawaii's other tall mountains. There are a host of hiking trails and the whole summit area appears like a landscape from Mars. It's also the reputed location that the demigod Maui lassoed the sun to stretch your days and bring you fun. You're welcome. So overall, it's a really popular and worthwhile location to add to your Maui bucket list. So here is how to do it. As we take a look at some of the considerations, let's take a drive up the infamous highway on the way to the summit. Unfortunately, visiting the volcano is not free. A lot of Maui's best natural wonders are, but Haleakala is not one of them. The area is managed by the National Park Service and entry requires a fee. If you are a holder of the America the Beautiful Pass, this will get you in, and you can also buy the Tri-Park Pass for $55, which gets you into the Volcanoes Natural Park and the Puhonua National Historic Park, both over on the Big Island, if that's part of your plans. Otherwise, it's a $30 fee per vehicle, but this does get you 3 days access, including the Kipahulu Visitor Centre over on the other end of the road to Hana. So make sure you plan any visits to that park to coincide with this window. And remember, prices may rise after we release this video. Sunset is a touch cheaper than sunrise however, as you do need reservations for sunrise, and these incur a $1 booking fee, which is avoided if you visit after sunrise. But let's call this section a draw, as it's only $1. However, the reservation system is a bit of an issue, as these highly prized reservations sell out pretty fast, like 10 to 20 seconds after going on sale fast. So you need to be prepared at 7 AM Hawaiian Standard Time, 60 days before you want to go, to snag one of these prized reservations. If not, then the debate is over, as you can't actually visit the summit at sunrise without one. There are some slots released 2 days before, so it's always worth checking then as well. On top of this, sunrise is a bit of a pain really. You need to get up mega early, as the drive is pretty long and you need to be at the summit a good while before the actual sunrise. Here is a table of approximate wake-up times depending where you are staying, and as you can see, there are some early starts. But the good news is, jet lag can help out. If you plan to visit the summit nice and early in your trip, you may still be on whatever time zone you left, making these early starts a bit more manageable. And remember, if you want to stargaze, you're going to need to be there a good hour before sunrise to get a proper dark sky, and even sooner if you want to really take it in or get some astro shots. And finally, it's going to be cold in the early hours of the morning. Like really cold. Think 30 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit, or even as far down as freezing. And not many people pack their winter coats for a tropical escape to Maui. All in all, it's a bit of a pain to visit at sunrise, whereas sunset, you just head up when ready, watch the sunset, and then run down before the temperature drops. The Haleakala Highway comes with a bit of a reputation and is a road of nightmares for some, and if you want to see sunrise or sunset, you're going to have to drive one way in total darkness. Honestly, there is no difference in which way round you do it, so this section is a draw. And honestly, the road itself isn't that bad. It's wide, well paved, and there are ample crash barriers. It's an easy drive really, it's just the road does on occasion offer a little glimpse of the height you are traversing, and it can get a little bit unnerving, but just focus on the road and not the drop, and it's a really easy drive. In fact, it's even easier at night as you can't see the drops properly. And really, it's a well-paved, wide, smooth road with just a few tight bends. Again, this is a draw. If you want a peaceful and relaxing sunrise or sunset, this isn't it. It's packed to the rafters. This is why the reservation system was brought in, as numbers were becoming unmanageable, but this has had the effect of boosting numbers for sunset too, and that is now packed as well, to the point they may bring in reservations for that as well, but not yet. Overall, you are likely to face crowds, whichever option you choose. However, if you get there early, you can hike away from the main crowds, and this is easier to do at sunset, when it's still light, but remember, you will need to hike back in the dark. There are some great hiking trails to do while you're up at the summit, such as the Sliding Sands Trail, the Skyline Trail and the Rainbow Bridge Trail. These are much easier to do when viewing the sunrise. This is because you will not be on a time limit. With sunset, if you don't get your hike done on your predicted time, you may miss the sunset, or even be stuck out on a trail after dark. With sunrise, you will be hiking after the main event, so you will have all day to take your time and enjoy the trails. A definite win for sunrise. Stargazing is actually our favourite thing to do on Haleakala. This is done much easier at sunset. Like hiking, this is just down to the inescapable path of time. Even if you arrive an hour before sunrise, the skies will still start to lighten up pretty fast as the stars fade. To get a good solid hour of stargazing in, you're going to need to be there an hour and 30 minutes before sunrise, and that is an early start. Back to our table. With sunset, once the skies darken, you have whatever time you like to devote to scouring the heavens. There is no worry that the skies will suddenly start lighting up and the stars dimming. However, the time of year will have an impact on what you may or may not see as far as the Milky Way goes. We advise using the Photo Pills app to see what position the Milky Way will be in at your time of visiting. With just 2 categories left, it's a close race, and for many people, they draw the line here and use the aforementioned categories to judge and claim that sunset is the better option, as overall, it really is just a lot easier and a lot more convenient. People see it as a hack, as an easy win, a way of avoiding the hassle of getting up at the crack of dawn and navigating complex reservation systems. They are the winners, and the suckers that bothered with all the effort are the losers. But there is an issue here. They are wrong. The penultimate category swings this race so decisively, it makes all the other arguments silly. The sunrise is just by orders of magnitude better. Why? It's the direction. The sun sets in the west and dips into the ocean just behind the West Maui Mountains. It is beautiful, the colours are stunning, and it is a really great sunset. As long as our final category, the weather, holds out, you will not be disappointed, and probably decide you made the better choice, as how could the sunrise be any better than this? Well, it is. After all, this is just a nice sunset, but from a unique and elevated view, but it's still just a sunset. The sunrise is different. Of course, it's still just a sunrise, but the direction it comes from makes it more surreal and spectacular than just about any other sunrise we have seen. This is all down to the fact that the sun rises out of the Haleakala crater. There is almost no reference, the crater rising over an endless sea of clouds, the sun erupting from the clouds and flooding the Martian-like crater with glowing red light. It's seriously otherworldly and an almost out-of-body experience. It really is magical and has to be seen to be believed. The crater just provides a perspective on the sunrise unlike anything we have ever seen. This is why the mountain has its House of the Sun moniker, and why people go to such great lengths to see it, and have done for centuries. We are not very religious, but this is about as close to a religious experience as you're going to get. You can certainly feel some form of almighty power at play, be that God or just Mother Nature. It's pretty moving. As we said, this doesn't just level the scores, it decimates the opponent, and there isn't much more to say about this argument from our part. However, one other big factor to consider is the weather. This is a constant make or break factor. The reality is, if the summit is steeped in cloud, your experience is going to be pretty awful. There will be no sunrise or sunset, it will just get light or dark. There are no views, and overall it will be a total bust. The good news is, this is not overly likely. The summit is so high, it's more often than not way above the clouds, but it's still reasonably common. It's also far more common in the evening for sunset. Clouds build up throughout the day, and these often peak around sunset, with the clouds really building up on the summit. Most times the summit is above the clouds and the sunset is spectacular. Sometimes though, it builds up high enough to obscure the view entirely. For sunrise, the odds are way better. Cooler nights almost always clear the clouds, ready for sunrise. Even with the huge banks of cloud covering the island and surrounding oceans, the summit pops out of the cloud layer. Really, the only time the summit is cloudy for sunrise is when a larger weather system rolls in. These are fairly rare and predictable, so you will know ahead of time it's going to be cloudy and can save the trip, although you will be stuck for your reservation. Despite the fact you will need a really early start, we still suggest you do everything in your power to snag that reservation for sunrise. Yes, if it becomes impossible, even after your best efforts, the sunset is a great compromise. but it is a compromise. For certain reasons, it is better, such as astro and for flexibility if the weather is bad, but the actual main event, while still being spectacular, pales in comparison to the sun rising over the crater. We hope this helps you choose your excursion, and we really hope you have a great time whichever you end up seeing. It really is worth it whichever you choose, and the most important thing is having at least one of these activities on your Maui itinerary. Mahalo for watching, and remember to like and subscribe for loads more Hawaii content and travel advice.